But wait a minute, young lady. How did you get into this picture? You see, we're trying to prove a point about nature and beauty, and you're not exactly helping, you know. You don't seem to be exactly the type to make this guy behave like a human being.
Bruh.
Hey, my name is Missy, and I'm a certified baddie with a fatty that make cringe comedy videos on TikTok and Instagram. Please don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss another dumb video I make. Now, let's get back to the video. Welcome to living 72 hours as a 1950s housewife. No internet, no social media, even though it's my job. And girl, let me tell you, I almost died. The first thing I did is what every housewife did, which is to open up all the windows and blinds to let in that sunshine, let in that fresh air, and letting go of your toxicness, right? The smell of your farts from the night before. So next is time for skincare and makeup, which is my favorite part. So after World War II, rationing was over and the cosmetic industry boomed. Families had way more disposable income, and now the everyday woman could afford to look like her favorite Hollywood actress. Look, the 1940s wartime depression was over, and it was a time for, hot girl summer, a decade of hot girl summer. Skincare was pretty simple back then. It consisted of splashing your face with cold water, cleansing your face thoroughly, and moisturizing your face with Pond's cream, which is what I'm using this week. Okay, moving on to makeup and hair. The goal of daily makeup was elegance. You wanted to be the baddest on the Tupperware parties, okay? Like, you wanted the other moms to look at you and be like, oh my god, is that Maybelline? Is that her? You know what I mean? So I'm applying a light layer of foundation, and then of course a lot of powder all over my face because look, you needed to have a beat face from making breakfast in the morning to cleaning up your husband's stains that's been in the toilet for 2 business days, okay? All right, next is eyebrows. I'm penciling them in this arch shape, which was super popular back then. And lastly, but most importantly, the red lipstick. Revlon red lipstick was the staple in elegant Hollywood looks. And every bad bitch on the block needed to have this in her collection, right? Like, look at me. Look at me in this red lipstick. The other PTA moms could not tell me in this lipstick, all right? Okay, now I need you guys to keep your hands and feet in the cart at all times because I'm about to unlock a new ick for all of you guys with my hair in this video, okay? I have Asian girl hair, which means that my hair is very straight and hard to work with, so it was really hard to do these styles, all right? So I curled my whole head and ended up putting a pin in it to keep the hair out of my face, and I don't know, this is kind of what I came up with, but like, tell me why I look like the most annoying pick-me girl though in this hairstyle. I look like one of those girls that's like, I'm not like other girls. I would rather be home cooking than partying. Pick me, choose me. Like, that would be me in this hair. Okay, moving on to the outfit. I'm wearing this 1950s inspired casual dress that I got off of Amazon. And okay, purr. It's giving the hottest mom at the neighborhood block party. It makes up for the bad hair. Okay, now it's time to cook. My husband and I don't eat breakfast, so I'm making like this early lunch type thingy. I got the recipe for the Monte Cristo sliders from a 1950s recipe book, and girl, let me tell you, it gets a 10 out of 10 for being easy, but a 20 out of 10 for being wop-y, all right? Bro, my ass was clenching, cutting into these sliders, like, oh, they were so gooey, like literally sounds from a 1950s Cardi B song, like get an oven and a housewife for this wet and gooey, okay? All right, I'm sorry. Okay, moving on to the daily task. Look, despite being hot and carrying around this fat 1950s housewife had a lot of daily tasks to do. So from my research, it looks like the daily tasks were cut into 2 different sections, one being the daily task and the other one being a weekly task. So the daily task is pretty much the things that needed to be done every single day to make sure your house looks like an HGTV home, right? A Joanna Gaines wet dream, if you will. The weekly tasks are things that don't need to be done every day, but things that needed to be maintained over time. So like polishing silver, polishing the floors, laundry, sucking your man's ever so often, all that type of So here I'm doing the daily task, which is washing dishes, cleaning the kitchen, fluffing the pillows in case anyone wants to boink, picking up things, putting them back, and of course dusting. Bruh, the last time this fan was dusted was when Jimmy Carter was president, all right? I was actually scared for my life of what would come down on me when I was doing this. Like, it was not cute. I also vacuumed, I cleaned the bathrooms, I put some clothes away, the whole shebang. And after doing all of that, I was so tired, and it was only like 1:30. I already put my whole badussi into the day, and I was so tired. But the next thing I did was my weekly task, which for me today was doing laundry and getting the guest room in order for our guests. Here's me putting clean sheets on the bed, which is probably the most athletic thing I've ever done. Like, every time I put fitted sheets on the bed, I feel like I just won America's Ninja Warrior, and I should be in the back of a cereal box with Simone Biles, right, for my athleticism. Then I'm cleaning the guest bathroom here, and of course the mirrors, which honestly I never do. So you want to make sure that you not only see your reflection in the mirrors, but your childhood trauma and your emotional baggage, all right? Guys, legend says that Harry Potter was able to see Tom Riddle's origin story through these mirrors. They were so clean. After that, like, my whole body hurt, all right? The back of my knees were sweating. My uterus was tingling. But I went on to my second weekly task for the day, which is laundry. At this point, I was desperate for some sort of entertainment, so I put on the Lucy show. And as a woman in comedy as well, I just have nothing but respect for her, like truly the OG baddie with a fatty, right? So after that, it was time for dinner. Today I was making Sloppy Joes, again, another recipe from the 1950s. And while I let that cook, it was like 5 o'clock-ish, so it was time to touch up my makeup in here. And whoop! Yeah, literally, genuinely, it was shocking looking at my face. I looked like someone that was like on the no-fly list for unknown reasons. Like I just got dragged off of Spirit Airlines. So I quickly touched up my makeup and hair, and then I set the table for our guests. I didn't get a chance to film our guest, but after everyone was like done with their dinner, I did some light cleaning, so did some dishes, wiped the table down, and then it was time to go to sleep. So I just did my skincare and showered and went straight to sleep. I didn't even have time to be petty. I was so tired. Okay, day 2 of being a 1950s housewife. You guys already know the drill. Open the blinds, let in that fresh air, make the bed, and today I decided to make breakfast because I really wanted that true 1950s experience. So that's me doing that right now. And then it was time for my 1950s workout, the 1950s version of getting ready for hot girl summer. Guys, it was estimated that 1950s housewives burned 1,000 calories a day just from doing housework, which honestly, I already feel on my bones. And even with that, women also did workouts, but it was a lot more like dainty, I would say. Like definitely no heavy lifting or Chloe Ting ab workouts, but instead things like calisthenics, hula hooping, yoga, bike riding, dancing, all of that stuff, and whatever this is. Okay, so after that, I quickly cleaned the table and the kitchen from breakfast and then got straight into my daily skincare, makeup, and hair. For makeup, I pretty much did what I did yesterday, but I did a darker lip, which honestly was so much better. Okay, strap in for the worst hair day you will ever see, all right? Look, I was going for that cute, like romantic Aurora Sleeping Beauty look, but I ended up looking like Maleficent going through her midlife crisis. But it's okay because the dress was giving, all right? Waist was snatched, yitty sitting high. Like JFK would see me and he would be buying me pasta and lobster, all right? Okay, then I got into the swing of things with the daily task. So just like yesterday, I started cleaning the guest room and the guest bathroom, as well as my main bathroom, cleaning down the kitchen, putting things away and storing them properly, vacuuming, more vacuuming, the whole shebang. And let me tell you, the strawberry dress was on sport mode because I was able to finish all my daily tasks before noon, which honestly, I impressed myself with. For lunch, I just warmed up the Sloppy Joes from last night, and then this is when I really hit a wall. Like, I felt like I just got the soul sucked out of me. Kim Kardashian, Ray J style, all right? Ursula from The Little Mermaid style. Like, nothing was left after this. So, like, this is the time when I would usually, like, listen to Am I the Asshole post on TikTok, but I finally got myself back up and started on my weekly task, which is to clean upholstery. So, like, real quickly, I just wanted to say that I know they had radios and TVs back then, but this whole experience really puts into perspective how quiet everything was back then versus now. Like, I'm so used to going from, like, watching a Karen get escorted off an airplane to toe-curling cringe compilations to watching Zendaya thirst traps on TikTok. And it was honestly a true shock to go from that to, like, 10 channels on TV. You know what I mean? Like, where am I supposed to get my daily dosage of Zootopia, Judy Hopps foot edits? Where? Just kidding. After all of that, it was time for dinner. Today, I decided to make a super easy chicken parm recipe, and guys, I was so excited for this one. It smelled so good. My nips were hard smelling the aroma in the air when I was cooking this, all right? Tonight, I wanted to focus on being the perfect housewife according to Housewife Weekly 1955, which provided a guide to women on how to treat her man. So some of the main points from the article is number 1, freshen up your makeup, all right? So here's me doing that right now. Check your hair, your makeup, and of course the yitties, right? You wanna look like a Discord kitten when he gets home, all right? Gotta go, ooh, ooh. Number 2, be a little gay, a little bit more interesting for him. His boring day may need a lift, and one of your duties is to provide it. Be happy to see him, free him with a warm smile, and show sincerity in your desire to please him. Number 3, let him talk first. Remember, his topics of conversation are more important than yours. Make the evening his. And honestly, this last one really sums it all together, which is a good wife always knows her place. Oof. Honestly, after reading that, I felt like there was a chat bubble that said like, Andrew Tate has entered the chat. These tips reminded me of like what you would sound like when you're in a group chat with everyone and no one likes each other, right? Like someone accidentally sent a hentai meme and now it's really awkward. A good wife knows her place, bruh. My place is being funny and carrying around this fat ass, all right? Never complain, girl. The second my husband comes through that door, I would be one of those housewives that was like, "Did you see how Mrs. Jones boinked the pool boy?" And then we would talk about her for the rest of the night. Like, if that's not marriage, I don't want it. Wait, after this, you guys, it took every single inch of manpower to get up. Like, I felt like I needed a cigarette, and I don't even smoke. But I ended the day with a quick shower and went straight to bed. No jokes, no drama, just sleep. All right, day 3, the last and final day. So I got right to making breakfast, which is eggs, coffee, a smoothie, and cookies, and then straight to doing my skincare, makeup, and hair. For my makeup, I did a little bit more of a glam look, so it was a little bit more heavier eyeshadow and that famous winged liner. And for my outfit, I was going for this more like industrial look, I guess. But I ended up looking like a dollar store Rosie the Riveter in the Spider-Verse. Like, if Facebook existed back then, I would look like one of those girls that DM'd you to join my pyramid scheme, all right? That's what I feel like I look like in this outfit. All right, you guys already know the drill. I'm getting started on my daily task for the day. But while I do those, I just wanted to quickly talk about my mental state. So by day 3, I was feeling extremely sad and I had really bad brain fog. I really couldn't think, and I overall just felt empty. And this led me to think, like, if I already felt this way on day 3 with an extremely supportive husband, how did women feel back then? And so, like, I saw that after World War II ended, people were thirsty for a sense of normalcy. And thus, the whole American Dream cosplay thing skyrocketed. Like, through ads and media and really just social pressures, women kept deep-throating this whole notion that consumerism was supposed to be what made you happy. Husband and kids, a huge house in the suburbs, and a bunch of materialistic goods to fill up that house was supposed to be what made you happy. But honestly, it made women kind of feel trapped. In the 50s, there was a rise of what was called housewife psychosis or hysteria, which was pretty consistent with the description of anxiety and depression. And this was consistent with what I started to feel like the past couple days. The housewife psychosis just seemed like a perfect storm of multiple problems at the time. Number one being lack of support. Women did not have mental health resources that we have today. Like, admitting you were depressed would most likely not lead to women being ostracized or their husbands telling them, "You're just being sensitive." Number two, unrealistic expectations. Look, everyone and their mothers were telling you that this is the American dream, and if you didn't meet these expectations, then you were not successful. And lastly, lack of options. Like, there was a lot of discrimination in the workforce towards women back in the day. Plus, women didn't really have any rights. Like, assaulting your wife was still legal, and women didn't even have the right to have their own bank accounts, you guys. With all that being true, it was no wonder that in 1950, 34% of women were in the workforce, and that increased to 38% by 1960. And of course, we also saw a huge feminist movement in the 60s as well. So not to say that being a housewife is bad or always leads to unhappiness, but I just wanted to shed some light on this whole 1950s housewife facade was not always true. And you know, there were tons of housewives that were happy, but this often included a large supportive network and of course any mental health resources if that was needed. Okay, so with that heavy stuff off my shoulders, here is me making my last meal as a 1950s housewife. So I wanted to make steaks and mashed potatoes, but because of my brain fog, it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to.
Hey, I'm a good influencer boyfriend. She f***ed up the steaks, so instead of consoling her, I set up the camera to capture this moment.
I f***ed up the steaks. That's okay. These are the steaks. I put it in the oven for 25 minutes, but at 375 instead of 275, so.
Oh.
Yeah, it was more like what I imagined food during the Great Depression to taste like. Like the type of meal they would serve you at Guantanamo Bay. But I did make some mushrooms and mashed potatoes, so it wasn't that bad. After eating, I cleaned up the dishes, wiped down all the counters, and by this time it was like 8 o'clock and I was pretty much done with what I needed to do for the day. So the last thing I did as a 1950s housewife was give myself a true self-care night. So I'm scrubbing my face with Pond's cold cream and washing that off with a warm washcloth, and let me tell you, I literally felt like I took 10 years off my face. Then I took a super hot bath with a lot of body oils, like the US was about to invade my bathroom after the amount of oils I used that night. Then I just moisturized my face. I'm really rubbing in all my serums into my skin to make sure I'm getting all them nutrients, you know, vitamin C. Maybe I can get some D from my husband. But after this, I just went straight to bed. And that's really the end of my 1950s housewife week. Please let me know if you want to see anything in the future, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!